Hey guys, how are you today? Happy Tuesday. You can hear all of the birds chirping around me apparently. Once again, it's Tuesday, so I'm doing a live about helping you with your content, helping you come up with ideas or optimize it or write things in a content marketing way that gets you more sales. Anyways, I have a few stories for you today that should help give you examples of how you can come up with more ideas that are valuable for your business content. Because one of the things I hear the most from people as far as a barrier for them coming up with more ideas is they think they have to reinvent the wheel every time they do a post. So I always break posts down into three categories, like the personal engagement posts, the sales posts, and then values posts. So for example, with bookkeepers, as a value post, you would try and educate your readers, your audience on something to do with bookkeeping. But what I hear the most is that, like, well, everything I do is so common sense, it's so basic knowledge. I can't put a post like this out there. It's just too simple. Everyone already knows it. It won't actually be valuable. Or you may compare yourself. Well, this other bookkeeper does better content. I don't know nearly as much as this other guy does. Or I don't know anything useful that people want to know. I hear that a lot, but I want to encourage you and let you know that you don't have to reinvent the wheel and you do know something valuable. So I'm going to use the example of me sucking at Hebrew to encourage you to put out there what you know, even if it feels like it's simplistic. So, all right, so you guys know that I moved to Israel about a year ago, and you guys know that Hebrew is like the bane of my existence right now. It's really difficult. It's not something I'm good at. It's not something that comes naturally to me. It really isn't. So it's been something that's been very trying for me, and it's something that it's the only thing I can see about myself some days. I get really fixated on what I can't do. I get fixated on the fact that I can't speak Hebrew and all of the ways it affects my life. And it helps me feel like I don't have value to give, which is a terrible place to be in. And everyone else around me can speak Hebrew. So I'm comparing myself to others. I'm seeing what I don't have. And I've needed a lot of help from others over the past year and I have these fears that, like, not being good at this thing I don't have yet will get in my way, and it'll make me a bad partner, it'll make me a bad friend. Until I get this, I can't have it. All I can see is what I can't do. This thing that I'm lacking makes everything terrible. So people have tried to help me, like, switch my perspective. They're just like, well, native English is such a useful skill here. You'd be able, if you wanted to get a job, you could get one like that. My friend Ortal, she's tried to help me see the glass half full. She's like, your differences are good. But I haven't been able to see the positive side of those differences. All I can see, all I get fixated on is I'm lacking in Hebrew. And this feels like the only thing that makes me valuable. And I get so fixated on what I can't do, I don't look at what I can do. So the point I'm trying to make is something that I've noticed in the past couple of weeks is that, of course, I grew up speaking English. I speak it natively. I'm a good writer, things of that nature. That comes naturally to me. And I completely write it off as something that doesn't feel valuable at all. I want to speak Hebrew, and I can't. Therefore, everything else is worthless. So when you're thinking about the stuff that you're good at, the things that you know about bookkeeping, about finance, about your business, the things that come naturally to you, it doesn't feel like it's worth very much some days because it comes naturally to you. Just like me having English here. It's just like, where I come from, everyone speaks English. It can't be that useful. But something that's happened in the past couple weeks is, like my friend Ortal was trying to encourage me. She's like, because you are different, it's good. Can you see the glass half full? Can you see how your differences are strengths? And the only way I was able to understand that was by putting myself out there. And for the past year, it's been putting myself out there online. And for the past couple weeks, it's been putting myself out here at this co-working space here at WeWork. So this is part of my point. I'm in this place where I feel like I don't have much of value to give in Israel, or in the internet world. The stuff that I know, surely everyone knows it. Everyone else is doing better than me. I know you guys have had those thoughts. They're human thoughts. But I want you to know that even if you aren't the very most knowledgeable, even if you are different, even if you feel like someone's doing it better than you have something very valuable, even if you feel like it's a very simple thing. So here's an example of how that applies to me sucking at Hebrew, okay? When I first started at WeWork 2 weeks ago, I felt very out of place. Everyone's speaking Hebrew around me, and all I could see was what I don't know. I was comparing myself. It's just like, I don't know Hebrew, therefore I have no value here. All I could see is what I didn't have. But over the past couple of weeks, what I've seen is my differences have let me get something else from it. So for example, I met this girl, Laura. She's on the staff here, and I picked up on her because she was speaking English in an American accent. And when you're an immigrant in a different country, that bonds you so fast. And within the first 90 seconds of us talking, she was like, "Oh my God, can we please be friends?" And she said it just a second before I was able to say it to her. So in that sense, I was able to see where my differences, my struggles in speaking Hebrew, oh good, Claire, I'm glad. My struggles in speaking Hebrew, they make me a perfect person to be friends with her, to support her. I still can't speak Hebrew. I can't. But my differences, the things that I take for granted and that I feel weak in, they have made me perfect to be her friend. Now, she and I haven't gotten coffee yet, but we are texting. I was able to connect her with someone to help her with some questions because she's diabetic and my brother-in-law is diabetic. But my differences made me perfect for her. Even though it feels like me being an American immigrant that doesn't speak Hebrew feels like it's the completely wrong place for me to be some days, or that I'm completely out of my league or not able to give any value. I actually had another interaction today that was very good. Sorry, apparently there's a ambulance coming down the street, and I'm right on the main street, so you're going to hear it for a minute. So while I was getting coffee today at the main station here at the co-working space, this older Russian entrepreneur, he's here at the building too. He built his life from scratch 30 years ago here in Israel, and he's tried to talk to me in Hebrew, and I had to go through, it breaks my heart every time I have to say, "I'm sorry, I don't speak Hebrew. אני מצטערת, אני לא מדברת עברית, אני מדברת אנגלית." And usually people switch over. I hate having to go through that transition, because what I'm doing is I have to say out loud the thing that I feel like I'm lacking all the time. I can't speak Hebrew, and that makes me feel so limited some days. But instead, he got a chance to practice his broken English. Now, something that I've seen in Israel is that people my age and younger are usually very, very good in English. People who are older, grandparents especially, don't speak much English. But he was able to have a pretty good conversation in English with me, got to practice it, and he made a point to say, he's just like, "Thank you for the English lesson." He said it in a little bit broken, but that's okay. He's like, "Thank you for the English lesson. My grandchildren speak English. I need the practice." And it was this really good reminder for me. It's just like, I'm not good in Hebrew. I'm not. But I am good in English. And in this place, around these people, that's actually a really valuable thing. And because it comes so easily to me, I forget that. I don't think twice about it. I don't think about it being a valuable thing. And here's another thing that was a really good realization. I felt painfully that switch, like, I don't speak Hebrew, and I feel, it just feels like this big weight, this big failure, this big shortcoming. He didn't care. He didn't care that I couldn't speak Hebrew. We found a way to have a conversation, and there were other ways that I was valuable to him. Things that come naturally to me were very valuable to him. And maybe he'll be able to have a better English conversation. Maybe he and I will talk more while we're here. And it was an affirmation that even though this feels so easy to me, it's something valuable to someone else. And here's the thing, I couldn't have, if I hadn't put myself out here by signing up here at this co-working space, I wouldn't have had that interaction to remind me that my differences are valuable. The things that come easy to me are not easy to others, and I have something to offer, even though I don't have the things that I want. I don't speak Hebrew. That's not the end-all be-all of my worth, and there are some days where it feels like it is, at least in my mind. Not for anyone here. Everyone loves speaking English with me. So, and like same with my writing business. It's this weird one-way conversation. For example, I'm talking at you right now. I wish you and I could be talking back and forth. But in order for us to have a dialogue in this like weird internet world, I have to put myself out there first. And some days when I put these things out there, I'm like, there's no way this will resonate with anyone. There's no way people will care about the stories. But by putting myself out there over and over again here in this online space, I've seen what people respond to. And a lot of times it's surprising how much people, at least to me, how much people get out of it. So here's what this story is coming back around to. So I know that you may be in a place where you feel like what you know is so basic that other people won't value it, whether that's professional or whatever. What you know just comes naturally to you. So why put it out there? You have to reinvent the wheel. You really don't. You know, for example, English is so easy to me, but it's really valuable for people here to have native English speakers. For example, the Hebrew class I went to last year, I was the only native English speaker in my class. The rest spoke Russian. All I could feel was my difference. All I could feel is that I couldn't speak Russian. I couldn't speak Hebrew. I felt the things I couldn't do, but it made everyone excited to talk to me in English. I had something different to give, and the difference was good. So anyways, I don't want you to compare or fixate on what you don't know, on what you can't do. I want you to put yourself out there about the things that you do know, the things that come easily to you, the things that feel so common sense that why would you even put it out there? Of course everyone knows that. One client of mine actually made me laugh last week because she said sometimes she has a hard time empathizing with her clients. She's like, finances have always come easily to me. I've always liked bookkeeping. She's like, I don't understand why, they don't like it, or it's uncomfortable, or they don't understand it. And it made me laugh when she said that, because it was a good point. She's just like, I'm so good at this, surely everyone is, right? And I want you to keep in mind that just because you're good at it doesn't mean everyone else is. And I also don't want you to compare to other people who are doing what you do in ways that you may feel are better. Comparison kills me a lot. I don't want it to kill you too. I know that you're going to see people on Facebook who have bigger presence, better branding, whatever. I don't want you to worry about them. I don't want you to compare yourself to them, because then you're killing your own uniqueness. You know things and are good at things and can explain things in a way that's perfect for someone. Just like me being a weirdly perfect person for Laura, just because you aren't the very best at something, you're still probably really, really good at it. You have something to say that people will benefit from. So that's what sucking at Hebrew has taught me about my value, and what putting myself out there has helped me realize. So as far as like a value post, if you're still watching at this point, I want to challenge you to an action. So as I've been going through this, as I've been saying, what you feel, is just stupid easy to you, surely no one else would have hear a post about it. Those are exactly the things I want you to write a post about. So your wheels are already turning. So think about those, 2 or 3 things that you're just like, that's way too simplistic. Maybe it's connecting QuickBooks to your bank. You know that it's free, you know that it's easy. Other people don't know that. So write a post about how to do it. Maybe it could be, like a P&L report. Some people don't know what P&L is for. So run through it with them real quick, how it can help them, how to do it. Um, don't take for granted what you're good at. Just like with me taking my English for granted, it's natural to me. But to the right people in this environment, it's incredibly valuable and helpful. So I don't take for granted what you're good at. Please take a second, make a note at a couple of things that feel so stupid easy no one want to read about. I promise you that you're just writing from your sweet spot. What's English to you is Hebrew to someone else. Okay, if that makes sense. What comes easily to you and doesn't feel valuable because you've just always been good at it, it's going to be valuable to someone else who may not be as good at it, just like my English here. So yeah, I want you to don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel. Don't feel like you have to be the very best at things. You are more than good enough at what you're doing, and your differences are what set you apart and help you connect with your people. Anyways, that's what I have for you today. Yeah, if you have any questions about coming up with more ideas for your social media content, just let me know. I actually am starting a Facebook group here this week where we'll be talking more about ideas for what you can post for your business, how to strategize it more, how to improve what you're writing, and just support for bookkeepers all starting on the same playing field, doing something they're not comfortable with to grow their business. Just a place to help each other out and help each other grow in that way, and I want to be there and help you grow as well. So anyways, keep putting yourself out there. Don't downplay what you're good at, and I will talk to you later, okay? I hope you guys have a beautiful day. It's absolutely gorgeous here, if a little hot, but I will talk to you guys later. Bye.